I don't. I brought one. No, I bet they got one up there though.
Your mic is on, so you'll click the push.
Maybe they have one at this
So that's
table.
how we get it on the live stream.
Oh, okay.
So you can just write.
The red light was on or not.
There you go.
I'll write this. I'll be fine. I'm fine. Just be nice and bold.
That's right.
This light is on when we're trying to speak, so that
Okay.
way we can get you for the recording.
Okay, thank you.
I know part of it. I know part of it had to do with
It seemed like the situation was last time.
So your councilman is Sam Davis as well?
yeah, Sam and LaShawn. There's two of them. So
Oh, so you got LaShawn?
LaShawn got one. Yeah.
Okay.
To look at them, show them something. Okay. Okay.
Hey, it wasn't easy, man. I would be working really, but right now I'm taking care of my mother. She's 89 years old. I just moved her down here maybe 4 or 5. Yeah, she's got one set dementia, so I can't go work. You know what I'm saying?
Live show is it's number 3, I think. So the video's probably first. Well,
I think that way.
He'll be back in. He'll be in, so.
Repeating herself. Yeah.
Like one thing, my wife gets mad at her, and I get it. It's like, but man,
Yeah, you can't get mad at it. It's hard.
they're
It's
close. They're
yeah.
so
All over your desk.
Sometimes it's irritating. Sometimes it can be irritating. But you too, man. Thank you. Braves were winning.
Nathan's at
That's wrong.
Glad to meet you, Mark.
Before they went into the 7th, I was like, oh, I don't know if they're going to pull it out. Before I was coming, I got here and I said,
Hey,
so what did you retire from?
where did I retire
No,
from?
what promotion?
Oh, Army.
Oh, so me too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You a professor.
yeah, professor at University of Georgia.
You look like a doctor. Huh? Are you a doctor? You
I'm
are.
not a medical, I know.
Okay.
I think I'm the only woman here.
Yeah. Probably a colonel.
Yeah.
Probably retired in 06.
Without my wife, I'd be screwed.
Mike,
I was going to say the same.
the guy wanted to know was the video first or the slideshow?
Colonel?
No.
Major?
Figured it out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was Chris. We're talking about Chris. The video.
Say the same thing.
He's looking for you.
So my office is in Decatur.
Okay.
actually. Of course, we're not going there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work in downtown Decatur. I work for Fairway Mortgage,
Okay.
right in downtown.
Members, I'm going to assist you this evening a little bit until we get a chairman, and then the chairman will take over the election for the vice chairman. So I'm going to call you to order then, and I'm going to ask for nominations for the office of chairman. Have one please speak up.
I'll speak up.
Mr. Hartley. Mr. Hartley, who would you like to nominate?
Oh, I was gonna nominate myself.
Very good.
I thought you just asked if you had, if you asked
Yes,
for
sir.
a volunteer.
Are there other nominations? I'm about to close the nominations if there are no more. All in favor of electing Francisco Hartley as chairman for the Planning Commission, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Mr. Hartley, you are the chairman, and I turn the meeting over to you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
So this is the script, but first we'll take the nomination for vice chair.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good evening, I'm Francisco Hartley, and I welcome you to the City of Douglasville Planning Commission meeting. We have one more administrative item we need to take care of, and that is to nominate a vice chair. Do we have any nominations, any motions?
Mr. Hartley, I'll nominate myself for vice chair.
Do we have any other? All right, we will close the nominations there. All those in favor of nominating Keith Burnett as the vice chair, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. All right, Mr. Burnett, you're the vice chair. As we get started here, there are a few protocol items I need to make you aware of before we start the meeting. Please listen closely, as this is how tonight's meeting will be conducted. Keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this commission to make its decision. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair if you deviate from this requirement. A second deviation will result in a request for you to leave the meeting and the premises for the evening. Refrain from any applause or comments from the audience. Only one person will be talking at a time, and all comments will be made at the podium after the speaker has been recognized by the chair. Please direct all comments to the chair and the commission, not to the audience or the staff. And I would like to, just before as we get ready to go to the next item, for the commission, I would like each one of them, starting from Mr. Burnett, if you could just state your name so you'll know who we have. And we also have our name tags.
Sure. Keith Burnett, Ward 5. Mark Van, Ward 2.
Natalie Fegan, Ward 2.
I'm Francisco Hartley, and I'm Ward 4.
Michael Parker, Ward 3.
Ralph Benton, Ward 3.
Nathan Zachary, Ward 1.
Thank you. Please do not applaud or react to speakers speaking from the audience, cheer or carry on conversations with others in the audience, or disrupt the order of this meeting in any way. Be aware that these hearings are not a debate or an opportunity to ask questions which must be answered by any individual tonight, but are merely an opportunity to present information to the commission. Other than the applicant, no person may speak more than once. The applicant may reserve part of his speaking time as a rebuttal and may speak first and last and may use the entire 20 minutes allotted for the pro side of the application. Other than the applicant, no person may speak longer than 5 minutes. If you have a pager, cell phone, or other electronic device, I ask that you either power them off or put them in silent mode, please. If anyone wishes to speak tonight, please fill out a form available on the table up front and hand it to the staff before approaching the podium. After each case is called, we will hear first from the committee development director, and then we will hear from the applicant or their representative about what their plans are for the property, along with any other relevant information they wish to present. The commission members will be free to ask questions at any time before the vote on a project. Following the applicant, anyone who wishes to speak for or against the project or just ask questions will have an opportunity to do so. The city ordinance restricts each side to a maximum of 20 minutes, or time may be waived at the discretion of the presiding official. If questions are raised, we may ask the applicant to speak again. Afterward, we will call for a motion and a second, have any necessary discussion, and if the matter is not tabled, we will vote to recommend approval or denial of the application. This commission is only a recommending body. The item will be heard by the mayor and council whether we recommend or we recommend denial. Unless tabled, these items will be heard by the city's mayor and council at their legislative meeting on Thursday, October 15th, and then voted upon by them at their meeting on the following Monday, October 19th. The commission members have received copies of the minutes of our last meeting. Does anyone note any changes or corrections? Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes of the last meeting are approved. Okay. The first case item is item 20-395, and we'll hold a public hearing and consider request for a change in zoning from R-A Residential Agricultural District County to LI, Light Industrial District City, for 8.164 acres at 1706 Blairs Bridge Road in Land Lot 672, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 3. Application by Republic Property Company, Incorporated. Staff will now present the item.
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant requests a rezoning under the City of Douglasville Unified Development Ordinance, Section 12.08.05. The proposed amendment would be consistent with the purpose and the intent of the UDO as stated under Article 1. Granting the approval of the applicant's request will be an orderly and beneficial development. The rezoning of the property is consistent with the existing and planned development of the existing environment. The rezoning will further the purpose of the comprehensive plan. The rezoning of the property would be compatible with the character area goal of providing for an area that can support a high intensity of development which serves a regional market. Rezoning this land from RA County to LI City would adequately address new or changing conditions in the area. There are many light industrial type uses in the vicinity of the subject property, and the character of the existing area is predominantly light industrial. This case is being brought before the Planning Commission for your recommendation on the rezoning, not the merits of the annexation. Annexation decisions are under the sole jurisdiction of mayor and council.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Melissa Perignat. My address is 100 Galleria Parkway, Suite 1800, Atlanta, Georgia, 30339. And I have the pleasure of representing Republic Property Company with respect to this application. With me today also representing Republic is Rawson Dawes, who'll be available to answer more detailed questions about the proposed development and what they're planning to build on this property along Blairs Bridge. So we're here before you today to respectfully request your recommendation to approve an application to rezone the property from RA County to LI in the city. And as Patrice mentioned, this property is also up for annexation, and it's currently within the county. In our letter of intent and materials, we did assert a constitutional objection because we do believe that this is the most economical use of the property. To give you some background about this property, it's approximately 8 acres. It's between I-20 and Blairs Bridge Road, and it has some improvements. There's dilapidated structures on the property now. No one is residing on the property. There's some sheds and some buildings, but it's not in use. And the intent is, and the surrounding area, as you know, Blairs Bridge has been very heavily developed industrial all the way along. We feel that this will be a very compatible use. So the proposed use is about a 7,600 square foot industrial building, very similar to the building that's recently been developed across the street on Blairs Bridge, which is a bit larger than the one we're proposing here. In fact, it's going to be very similar in facade, very similar in kind of the site design and plan, and so it's very complementary to what's currently existing along Blairs Bridge Road. Around the property are compatible uses. There's some city property that is general commercial, as well as there is an apartment complex, but there will be a sufficient buffer between our property and that apartment complex. And really, I mean, that we're just kind of, if you have any specific questions about the development, I'm sure Rawson can be able to show you. We do have the aerial over here, which shows you where the property is located.
Are there any questions from the board concerning this property?
I have a few questions. Thank you. I read through your proposal at length.
Sorry about that. Nice proposal. It was really well done. I know that there's a lake on the property, and I just wondered, is that going to be impacted at all?
It shouldn't be impacted and should be integrated within the development, but if Rawson wants to.
No, sir. It'll be integrated into development. This second slide, we will develop a second detention pond, to catch all the stormwater.
Okay. Just one other question. As I was reading through the proposal, there's a lot of variances proposed on this. It looked to me like they were mostly just low impact on the, overall site and stuff. Can you just talk about that just a little bit?
Yes, sir. So we are looking for a number of variances, mostly on the east side of the building, and it relates to screening, landscaping, and it doesn't impact a ton. I think total it's 3,000 square feet in area. There's one on the southwest corner that is in regards to landscaping and the car parking area, but nothing is too impactful on the surrounding properties.
And just to follow up, the application looks a little more daunting than it is. If we are zoned LI and not placed in the quality growth development overlay, which is our request, and understand that might be the staff recommendation also, only 2 variances are required. The others were listed as an abundance of caution. If we were to be put in that overlay, we would require those additional 9 variances. So as long as the property is rezoned to LI, light industrial, as was the property developed across Blairs Bridge in 2019, then we would only require the 2 variances which relate to building setback and the buffer.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question. How will this impact the resident that's already there?
Sorry, can you say that again?
How will this impact the residents that's already there? Are there any residents already there?
No residents on this property, no.
No, I know the property, I'm saying the area.
Oh, the area? There are some residences, apartments to the right, to the east side of the property. But if you look at the aerial, the current market is surrounded with industrial, and a light industrial zoning fits in with the current developments and zoning. It's rather consistent with the market.
I think my biggest concern when I wrote it, and it was the same as you, Mr. Van, I was looking at the water and then that detention pond as far as having to put both of them there, and I was wondering why you had to put another pond. Do you expect a lot of drainage, and that's, I guess my concern was just how much that would affect that or how big is that existing pond?
The pond,
The existing pond is accommodating the DOT, if you're familiar with tonnage of DOT.
Yeah.
That's picking up the DOT, storm coming off here, plus
Okay.
storm from the road.
Okay, I see.
And because of the age of this, it's now deemed to be a wetlands, and so we can't disturb it. So this is really only the stormwater coming off our property. This will not be increased or decreased by our development, it's purely what's currently there today.
I was just wondering if they would, like, eventually merge and just become one big thing and,
We wouldn't be allowed to do that.
okay, okay.
One last question.
What?
What is the, what's primarily going to be inside? Like, what's the kind of purpose of it?
so this size building will be a distribution facility. It won't be a big FedEx hub where you're having hundreds of trucks come through every day. It'll hopefully be taken down as one tenant, could be two tenants, where they're split up into, 40,000 square feet or less. And so it'll mostly be storage for a regional user.
Yes, that was a question I had as well about the size of the vehicles that may be coming in and out, and which direction would you use as your primary means of entrance, Thornton Road side or coming from Lee Road direction?
Thornton Road. So it'll feed kind of where the current truck traffic is.
Okay.
So they will not go, usually they do not go more west.
Are there any other questions from the board? All right. Do you have anything else for us?
Nothing at the time.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make comments? If so, please come forward, tell us your name and address. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Okay. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion passes and the application is approved. Thank you, sir, ma'am. Now, I do have a question, Ms. Patrice. So, on these comment sheets, do we put them now, or do we just write them afterwards?
No, you can go ahead and write them now. You can give yourself time to write your
Okay.
comments down.
All right, if you'll give us just a minute here, we have to fill out these comment sheets. The next case is item 20-396. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from RA Residential Agricultural District County to R2 Single Family Residential Detached District City for 1.014 acres at 1713 Blairs Bridge Road in land lot 672, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 4. Application by Republic Property Company Incorporated. Staff will now present the item.
Teresa Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. This item goes with the previous item, 20-395. The applicant's narrative states that the purpose of this request is to annex the subject property to help facilitate the development of a warehouse distribution center. The subject property is currently developed with a single-family residence that is rented. The applicant wishes to annex the property to prevent an unincorporated island along the Blairs Bridge corridor. Applicant seeks R2 residential zoning for the property, which is consistent with the 2024 Land Use Plan and the City of Douglasville Comprehensive Plan. The preliminary site plan provided by the applicant shows a relatively small warehouse facility at 1706 Blairs Bridge Road. The subject property would become a green space if successfully annexed into the city. This case is being brought forward to the Planning Commission for your recommendation on the rezoning, not the merits of the annexation. Annexation decisions are under the sole jurisdiction of mayor and council.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record and tell us what you intend to do on this property?
Melissa Perignat, 100 Galleria Parkway, Suite 1800, Atlanta, Georgia, 30339. Again, I have the pleasure of representing Republic Property Company in connection with this application to rezone the property at 1713 Blairs Bridge Road, which is south of the 1706 property we just discussed. As Ms. Williams described, this property is up for annexation and rezoning to prevent the potential creation of an unincorporated island, which is in violation of Georgia law with respect to annexation. So we have had this property under contract, and if we are able to get both properties annexed, this property, if the application is granted, we would have it rezoned to R2 within the city with the intent of leaving it as an open space. It's adjacent to the other industrial development that we discussed earlier that was built in about 2019 and it's recently been completed. So it would just serve as open space in that area. It also provides some continuity of ownership along Blairs Bridge, jurisdictional continuity along Blairs Bridge with more properties being owned by the city instead of just the city and the county piecemeal. So there really isn't any site plan or intent other than to keep it as preserved open space. And there is only, like I said, like Patrice had mentioned, there is a residence at the property which is currently rented. I'm happy to answer any questions that the members of the Planning Commission might have.
Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
You say an open space. It looks like from the schematics, there's trees on the property. Will the trees remain?
I believe we're not taking down any trees. I think we're just not planning to develop it is the intent.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
The rental property that is there, will that structure remain standing or will it be taken down?
Yeah, I think the plan is to have that structure removed.
I guess, and I think that's the thing I had wondered is, okay, if you're gonna leave that and take the structure down and just leave it as green space, can you do anything with it later without having to come before the board, or does it just have to stay green space, or are you just gonna, because I mean, you can, really, it's an acre, I didn't know if there was anything else you could build on it, or decide to move like a parking lot or something for the.
Yeah, I believe the staff recommendation requires it to remain a green space.
Mr. Chairman, it depends on what the council does with it. If they don't impose any special stipulations on it, it can be used for residential property. If they impose a special stipulation that it has to remain green space and serve the neighboring property, then nothing can be done with it except for it to be open space and perhaps a pocket park.
Thank you, Ms. Littlefield.
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Is there a tenant currently in the property?
I believe so, yes.
So I assume they're just going to stay there till their lease is over and then they're out?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yes, what kind of tenant is in the property now? I mean, who occupies the building now?
It's a single gentleman that probably in his mid-40s, but I don't know.
Oh, so it's a residential.
Yeah, it's residential.
Okay, it's just,
It's a residential.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make comments? Please come forward and tell us your name, address. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Okay. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve this application with the special stipulation that it maintain the green space upon annexation.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other further discussion on it? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is approved. Thank you. If you'll give us a minute. Thank you. The next case is item 20-398. And this is to hold a public hearing and consider request for a change in zoning from R-A Residential Agricultural District County to O-I Office Institutional City for 6.762 acres at 3441 King Drive, 2032 Riverside Parkway, 2052 Riverside Parkway, and 2070 Riverside Parkway in Land Lot 156, District 1, Section 5, Parcels 48, 94, 50, 51. The application is by Serenity at Manchester. Staff will now present the item.
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant, Serenity at New Manchester LLC, is requesting to annex and rezone approximately 6.7 acres from RA to County OI in the city. The subject property is located at the intersection of Riverside Parkway and King Drive in Douglas County. If the annexation request is successful, the subject property will be annexed into a mixed-use design character area. The mixed-use design character area lists the OI zone as one of its recommended land uses. After successful annexation, the proposed project will be consistent with the city's future land use map. The applicant is proposing to develop 25 senior rental cottages, 50 memory care units, and 95 assisted living units. This case is being brought forward to the Planning Commission for your recommendation on the rezoning, not the merits of the annexation. Annexation's decisions are the sole jurisdiction of mayor and council.
Thank you. Will the applicant please come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Chairman, this is Joe Fowler, Post Office Box 49 in Douglasville. I represent the applicant, who is Mr. Freddie Allen. He is the representative of Serenity at New Manchester. Good to see you all here tonight. As you heard described, the request is to both annex and rezone, like the application you just heard a moment ago, 6.762 acres. It's at the southwest intersection, Riverside Parkway and King Drive. It is directly across the principal entrance to Tributary you may have driven by. It's currently a residential area, and it'll be moved from residential agricultural in the county, as noted, to the O&I in the city. The plan is to construct 25 independent living cottages for seniors 55 years old and older, plus a building of roughly 128,000 square feet, 2 or 3 stories. That's currently being engineered to house 90 assisted living units and 30 memory care units. You have the site plan in your package, but at this point we have a very brief video to show you. It should come up on your screens if they would start that. Here it is. It's about a minute long, give you an overview.
Serenity at New Manchester would be located on Riverside Parkway in Douglasville, Georgia. A senior living community that sits on 6 acres of land and would house 145 rooms, which would include memory care, assisted living, and independent living. It also would house cottages, where residents can live independently, but still can receive services as if they were a part of the assisted living facility. It is slated to have walking trails, a fitness facility, and a therapeutic pool. It would also offer concierge services such as personal transportation, salon and spa services, as well as planned events. Serenity at New Manchester, where modern comfort meets personalized care. The proposed Serenity at New Manchester would be located on Riverside Parkway in Douglasville.
Technical difficulties. Somebody that needs to be in the memory care unit was putting that must have been me, so we apologize for what happened. You'll note in your package that the staff has recommended approval, but at this point I'd ask Mr. Allen to give you an overview of the project that expands on what you saw on the glass in the back, but also to give you some details about his plan, his vision for the community. So let me introduce Freddie.
Chairman and members, my name is Freddie Allen. My address is 9954 Barnesbury Road, Douglasville. I am a proud resident of Tributary community. I've been there for 10 years, and my vision is simple: to enhance the development of the community with care and luxury care for our elderly, to provide a place for them to grow with a level of intentional care for their extended life. So we'll have cottages for independent living, so that as they progress and need care, we'll have a facility for them to get some independent care, as well as assistant care and memory care, just for the growth of the development. I thought it would be an excellent idea to have it across from Tributary, and as you know, as a planned community, and it will just continue the same view and culture as Tributary has. So any questions or?
Are there any questions from the board?
I have a question. What is the rate, the rental rate for the cottages? The expected rental rate?
The expected rental rate for the cottages will probably be around $3,500, and that is all inclusive.
Pardon me, what was that number?
$3,500.
Are there any other questions?
You mentioned that that's all inclusive. Is that medical care inclusive, or are we talking food? You know, what is included in that?
Inclusive would be, we will, that does not include their medical care in terms of their extended care. We will have an RN and physicians on site for anything that we can attend to their particular needs based on their level of care. But any other Medicare or thing that they need will be on their own.
Are there any other questions from the board?
I have a quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'm not sure if this is for you, for Mr. Fowler, but this is a very cool property, very well done. Nice video, by the way. Isn't this the old Palmer property? This is not it?
It's further down. So this is on the corner of King and Riverside directly. The Parma Falls is a little bit down the ways.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Burnett.
Will there be an entrance on King and Riverside, or just King?
Yes. An entrance on King will be for the facility, and we felt it as important that the people that are in the cottages, just for psychological purposes, wouldn't be so amenable to the facility, which way they may end up. So it will be more like to mirror the interest of Tributary. They'll come in, parks, walking space, and cute little cottages.
Do you have a question, sir? Did you have one? Because
Yeah, I do have one other question. I mean, I think this is a great idea. 'Cause we do need, care for our elderly. We do need locations like this. $3,500, maybe that's not a lot, maybe it is. But I didn't know if that was just all from, the person will have to privately pay for that, or would some of that be able to be covered by some type of supplement, insurance, or whatever the case, for them to be able to reside in those cottages?
Actually, it would be both. Some will be self-pay, some will be supplemental. The $3,500 was specifically for the cottages. The facility will house different room types, and the pricing will vary based on their particular needs and the size of rooms that they get. So they'll have a lower price point as well.
I have another question. I think I read that there would be no medical care provided.
We will have nurses and RNs
There will be.
and physicians on site
Okay.
to administer medicine, or if there's a physical need they have, we will adhere to that, but obviously we will refer them to their primary care.
Are there any other questions from the board? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Richard Siegel. My address is 9905 Ashford Greenway, which is in Tributary, right across the street from this proposed project, and I stand here with enthusiastic support. If you've ever been down Riverside Parkway, you'll notice that it's a mixed-use corridor, much like Ms. Williams mentioned. It's partly in the city, partly in the county. We have single-family homes, we have townhomes, we have apartments, more apartments coming. We have retail, we have light industrial, way too much light industrial. We don't need any more warehouses and trucks up and down Riverside Parkway, just in case more applications come to you all about that. But what we don't have, and what fits in very well with what we already do have, is such a property that is being proposed here today. So this is exactly what we'd like to see. We need more diversity in uses on Riverside Parkway, not so much with the trucks. This does not put any impact on our school system because the elementary school nearby, the middle school, the high school, they're not having their students living in this location. So the property will pay school taxes, but does not put any strain on the school. So that's an excellent feature of this, because you'll see a lot of questions asked when there's a new residential development on how it impacts the schools. This has zero impact on schools, a benefit to the schools because of the money that is generated for them. And then before I sit down, I just want to congratulate each of you for joining this planning commission. Yesterday, you joined it, and here you are. And I want to express my appreciation as a citizen for your willingness to step up and be a part of our community and help make the decisions to move us forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Phillip Strusk. I live at 9905 Ardwick Greenway in Douglasville. I'm also a resident of Tributary. And first of all, let me just say welcome all of you to the committee, and thanks for being willing to serve. Thanks to all the new members and to Keith. I know how much time something like this takes from the fact that I'm on 2 committees for Douglasville myself. I would like to say I also am excited about this. It is what we thought Tributary was going to be 14 years ago when my wife and I bought our property there. At the time, there was even an assisted living facility in the plans for Tributary, but it's of course gone now. And in talking with Mr. Allen, this will really be such a complement to the whole Riverside Parkway area and to the vision that Tributary had in the first place. The entrance, in looking at the plans, the entrance would look a lot like the entrances to Tributary already. And when I talked to him about what would we see from the road, that's been our concern, because the vision from the road coming up Riverside Parkway has changed so much in the 14 years that I've been there. It would look, it's going to look great, either blocked by trees completely or a fountain and really a Tributary look. And that's what we see. Our residents, as you'll find out, are very, very concerned about that part of Douglasville and how it continues to progress through the years. And as Mr. Siegel said, we don't need any more 18-wheelers running up and down that road, and this will not cause any more of that. So again, I appreciate all y'all do, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. 9922 Ashland Road. My name is Ryan Hill, and I wanted to speak in favor of this project. I moved to Tributary last year and have been involved with my neighbors as far as, with all the influx of industrial that's been attempting to get on that road. So it's very nice to see a community project to be proposed and sought after. So I just wanted to say that this project definitely brings diversity and more neighbors, and with more neighbors comes more retail, so it's a win-win for all of the residents that has decided to move to that great neighborhood and that great area. So just speaking in favor of the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Amy McCoy, owner of 3180 Ashton Old Road in the Tributary. When I met Mr. Allen several years back and looking at the overall direction of Douglas County and in this area specifically and understanding what his vision was, I really got excited because my father-in-law passed away 2 years ago when we were in search of assisted living. And due to the influx of population that happened here in Douglas County, you can rarely find any locations available, let alone anything in a 55 and up community that's even affordable. However, specifically to the Riverside corridor, as my neighbors had mentioned, this fits into the continuity of what Tributary was all about. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of the, tractor trailers as well. But this provides so much opportunity for people like my parents that when I decide that, hey, it's time to go to assisted living, at least they'll be close to home. Because, when you're faced with memory care situations, having family close by is very important. So I know for my residents, they can appreciate, the neighbors, they will appreciate having where family can be close by. As time, leaves us all. So I'm asking that you guys be in favor of this and help keep Tributary on the upward moving path for value and just an amazing community. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
Mr. Chair, motion that we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion passes and the application is approved. Thank you. The next case item is 20-397. Hold a public hearing and consider request for change in zoning from GC General Commercial District to LI Light Industrial District for 9.44 acres located on Blairs Bridge Road in Land Lot 581, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 2, and Land Lot 616, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 1. Application is by Native Development Group. Staff will now present the item.
Teresa Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant narrative states that the purpose of this request is to develop a warehouse distribution center. The preliminary site plan provided by the applicant shows a 118,000 square foot warehouse on a vacant tract of land located on Blairs Bridge Road. The applicant requests a rezoning under the City of Douglasville Unified Development Ordinance, Section 12.08.05. The proposed amendment is consistent with the purpose and the intent of the UDO under Article 1. The current comprehensive plan shows this parcel is part of a regional activity center. However, light industrial zones are not one of the recommended uses by the regional activities character area. However, the area in which the proposed project is undertaken is an area that is predominantly light industrial. The proposed amendment would be compatible with the existing environment. The rezoning to LI is compatible with the purpose and intent of the most recent comprehensive plan. The properties located to the north and west of the subject property are currently functioning as light industrial. The vacant property to the south and east will remain PSP, public, semi-public. The existing light industrial uses in the vicinity of the subject property lends further credence that the proposed project would enhance the intent of the most recent comprehensive plan. The proposed project develops land that is currently best suited for light industrial use with a minimum impact or demand on city services.
Thank you. Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Chairman Joe Fowler on this application and the two that follow as well because of two of them being postponed from last month. Post Office Box 489, and I'm here with Mr. Joe Mccoy, who is the representative of Native Development Group. He's been involved in this business for a long time. This property is not on Riverside Parkway. Mr. Siegel will be glad to know that. However, it is on Blairs Bridge Road. It is very close to the predominantly light industrial properties that are in that area. Most notably, a football field or so away to the east is IDI's 400,000 square foot industrial site that is just across the street, just across from Blairs Bridge Road. So if you're standing in front of the IDI building, which is up high, and look to the west, where the curve in the road is, that's where this particular site is located. It's 9.45 acres. It is vacant, no residences anywhere nearby. Part of this site is a properly zoned tract that is currently light industrial, and it will be used for part of the ingress-egress to the site. It's, as noted, approximately 118,000 square feet. Mr. Mccoy has a long history of this type of projects, and as you heard, the staff has found that this is consistent with the neighborhood, and they've recommended the light industrial zoning. He and that is Mr. Mccoy and his engineer have been in touch with WSA. You may look at that area. When you drive by on the interstate, you can see it's rather low. This is above any floodplain that may be in that area because of Sweetwater Creek. So it sits perfectly. He's been in touch with the WSA representatives. So that issue is solved. There may have been some line of sight issues because a curve in Blairs Bridge is nearby. Those things have been worked out working with the county DOT staff with respect to clearing trees and so forth. So the trucks that move in and out, along with those who will be employees there, will have adequate line of sight. He's available to answer any questions you have, but we are thankful for the staff's recommendation and we appreciate your consideration. Any questions for Mr. Mccoy? I'll take my seat. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board?
This looks to be the property, I guess now, was once a paintball
No, that's across the creek.
It's across
So
the creek.
this, I think this used to be where the bridge kind of went across the Sweetwater Creek is one of the portions of the property, but I believe maybe 60 years ago there was a church there, but nothing at all recently. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Joe Mccoy. I'm with Native Development Group, 910 Davis Bend, Alpharetta, Georgia.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make comments? Please come forward, tell us your name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? The motion passes and the application is approved. The next case is item 20-469, and it's to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from commercial heavy conditions county to light industrial city for 16.184 acres at 2084 Skyview Drive in land lot 521, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 3. Application by Oakmont Acquisitions. Staff will now present the item.
All right. Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant's narrative states that the purpose of this request is to annex the subject property to help facilitate the development of a warehouse. The subject property is currently heavy commercial with conditions and developed with a dilapidated single-family structure that is currently vacant. The applicant seeks LI zoning for the property. The preliminary site plan shows a relatively small warehouse facility to be developed at 2084 Skyview Drive. Approximately two-thirds of the subject property is located within a floodplain, and a creek transverse the property. The annexation and rezoning of the property are consistent with the existing environment. Currently, the immediate area and nearby vicinity have light industrial uses to the west of the subject property and heavy commercial uses to the east. The subject property is located in an area on Skyview Drive that is recognized as a location suitable for industrial development. It is adjacent to the former Nyaxum building, which is 380,000 square feet. The current comprehensive plan shows this parcel as part of the Regional Activity Center character area. LI is not one of the recommending zoning districts of the Regional Activity Center character area, but due to the varying conditions of the area to light industrial and heavy commercial land uses, the proposed use is deemed suitable. The rezoning of the property would meet the character area goal of providing for an area that can support a high intensity of development which serves a regional market. The rezoning to LI is compatible with the purpose and the intent of the most recent comprehensive plan. This case is being brought forward to the Planning Commission for your recommendation on the rezoning, not the merits of the annexation. Annexation decisions are under the sole jurisdiction of Mayor and Council.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do with this property.
Joe Fowler, Post Office Box, 489 Douglasville, here on behalf of the applicant Oakmont Pacolet Acquisitions LLC. To my right is Mr. Thomas Cobb, then Mr. Hunter Himes behind him, and then to the left is Mr. Dan Wintermeyer, who is the designer who prepared all the documents that you've seen. The project involves the two properties that was mentioned a moment ago. And if you're standing on Skyview looking at the property, there's a rather deep but somewhat narrow property on which is located the dilapidated house that you just heard mentioned. I believe that's 10.001 acres. The building that's going to be in the range of 180,000 square feet, about half the size of the former Nioxin building that is immediately to the west, the big massive structure there. Behind it, by the way, is the road that goes through West Fork that ultimately comes out on Thornton Road. And of course, in West Fork, there are dozens of large industrial buildings. If you're looking at this property looking south, there's the narrow property on which the dilapidated house is located, but immediately to the west is a little bit of property that is located outside the floodplain. And then, as noted earlier by Patrice, about 2/3 of it going over to a stream is floodplain, is not usable. However, that property was necessary as a part of this acquisition in order to provide for parking for the truck court. And so it involves two parcels. The one in the city that, of course, it requires zoning, and then the annexation that is currently taking place. The request is that you rezone the tract to light industrial upon its annexation. And I've covered my presentation out of order, but that's it. The gentlemen here are available to answer any questions that you may have with respect to this use. It also is not on Riverside Parkway, I will note. Thank you. Any questions for these gentlemen? They'll be more than glad to respond.
Are there any questions from the board? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Is there anyone who would like to, Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I motion we approve this application.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion?
Just to verify, that was Mr. Van, correct? Second? Okay, thank you.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is approved. Thank you. The next case is item 20-481. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning to PRD, Planned Residential Development District, for 18.89 acres at 5059, 5049, 5029, and 5011 Reservoir Drive at Arbor Place Boulevard in Land Lot 24, District 1, Section 5, parcels 10, 11, 74, and 76, and Land Lot 23, District 1, Section 5, parcels 124 and 125. Staff will now present the item.
Teresa Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant is proposing a townhome development that consists of 94 front-loaded townhomes measuring 20 feet by 45 feet and 99 rear-loaded townhomes measuring 20 feet by 45 feet. The townhomes are proposed to be in 27 structures ranging from 4 townhomes to 8 townhomes per structure. The site plan also illustrates a clubhouse, a community green, and associated stormwater detention pond. Based on the site plan that was submitted with the application, there will be approximately 193 townhomes at approximately 10.56 units per acre. The site plan shows the units on over 18 acres, introducing increased density that may complement surrounding commercial development and act as a buffer between the commercial property and the R2 zoning adjacent to the property. The proposed townhome development will be an expansion of the Regional Activity Center character area, which encompasses land directly north of the development. The proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan with the proposed future land use designation or Regional Activity Center. Guidelines for this designation include residential development with open space and recreation on properties over 10 acres. The purpose of the Regional Activity Center is to provide an area that can support a high intensity of development that can serve a regional market. Typical land uses include varying densities of residential development. The property would satisfy high-intensity suggestions set forth by the Regional Activity Center. I can answer any questions you may have for staff.
Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Joe Fowler, Post Office Box 49 here in Douglasville. I'm here on behalf of Van Line Communities, and allow me to introduce their representatives who are here tonight. Ms. Beth Kidd to my right, and then a gentleman working as a part of the designer for this project is Chad Lambeth. Now, you may know that a form of this application was previously considered by the Planning Commission based on an application that was submitted way back in February of this year. It was accompanied by a request to annex this property into the city limits of the city of Douglasville. At that time, a comprehensive traffic study was submitted with the application to rezone and to annex at that time, and the traffic engineer is the gentleman with the white face mask there. Since that time, that is, since the time of the application, there were 2 citizens meetings, one by Zoom, and then the other a live meeting here in the council chambers about a month ago. As explained, as a result of the citizens meetings, combined with several meetings of the city council, ultimately what occurred was the application was withdrawn on September the 1st, 2020, and the application now before you was resubmitted. And part of that reason is because of the following. The former application had a single entrance to the site from Arbor Place Boulevard down Reservoir Drive. So if you're coming south on Chapel Hill Road with Panera Bread on the left, you turn right, and when you turn right and go toward the mall, there's an entrance into the strip center on the left, but beyond that is Reservoir Drive. That initially was going to be part of the ring road of the mall when it came here decades ago, but unfortunately CBL, who developed the mall, could not reach an agreement with the owners of the Reservoir Drive property, and so it has just basically sat undeveloped for all these years since that time. There are 2 or 3 residential dwellings there, but Reservoir Drive never was essentially incorporated into part of the mall. And so now what's happening is the applicant has proposed to acquire that property for the townhomes, as you've heard described, but likewise to revise the application to provide for a second entrance, and that will be directly onto Arbor Parkway, so that if you go past the Lazy Boy store and next, I think it's Firestone. I need to be in the member care unit as well, it seems. But you know where I'm talking about. It's that property right there on the left, and this property will be acquired for an additional entrance. That was discussed at or near the time we had the second group meeting, but also at the time that the application was withdrawn. And all of those contracts are now going back and forth between our client, Inline, and CBL. So the request that you have before you now is to rezone approximately 18.23 acres from RLD, that is the Reservoir Drive portion, and GC, that's the CBL property, to PRD, Planned Residential Development, for the construction of the townhomes, 94 of which will be front-loaded, the balance of which will be rear-loaded, that is with alleyways. All of that you'll see on the site plan that will be before you in just a moment. Ms. Kidd, Mr. Lambeth can provide details about the project, but there are a couple of specific notes. As a part of the 2 neighborhood meetings that were conducted, concerns were raised about fencing all around the boundary of the project, and that was agreed that it would be done. Initially, there was talk about not having fences, so it would be a walkable community. That sort of dropped by the wayside during some of the meetings, either before P&Z or before the city council. So now the agreement and the stipulation would be to fence the entire project. And then the next thing was that there would be no access to the site, either from Stewart Mill Road or from the site, from Stewart Mill to the project or down through Heritage Valley. There will be no access through the Heritage Valley subdivision. At this point, there's a presentation, and Beth will present that to you. Beth?
Will it be shown up here, Maya? Okay, so it's coming up. Okay, perfect. Hello, thank you all for allowing us to have the opportunity to come back in and re-present our plan to you guys. Let's see if I can get this going. So this outlines our existing property. Like Joe said, I'll reiterate some of the points that he touched on, but when we last appeared before you all, the plan we had showed one single, I'll pull up the old plan up here, showed one single access point off Reservoir Drive, and it had 100% one-car garage homes. And then we also heard that in our images, it was hard to make out some of the architectural detailings in our project. Since this time, like Joe said, we went back and we held another neighborhood meeting. We received additional comments from the neighbors, and we really went back to the drawing board to kind of figure out what we could do to improve upon the plan and hopefully get more support for it. Like Joe said, it's been great. We're really excited that we've been able to add these 2 northern parcels, and what we are really excited about is that this really makes this project truly a mixed-use component of this mall area and the surrounding activity center. We really think by adding this land, we have really changed the way our neighborhood lives. It's changed the way you enter the site, and it's really made it a truly walkable option for future residents. The primary access point is now, let's see if I can get this too. It's now going to enter off the north off of Arbor Place Boulevard, as Joe mentioned. We will still have the second access point off of Reservoir Drive to the east. So this will give us it'll take our direct access farther away from Chapel Hill Road, which gives options to really disperse traffic in multiple ways. In addition to this change, we've made some other major changes to the site. We've negotiated an agreement to expand the existing mall detention facility so that our site can tie in and use the stormwater management pond here. This will be done by expanding it to the west to accommodate our stormwater flow here.
What this will also do is takes the existing pond that had been shown on our site plan, which was backing up to some existing neighbors, takes this off of our site plan. Like Joe said, as a direct result of some of the feedback we've heard from the neighborhood residents, we have agreed to provide a perimeter fencing around the perimeter of our site. It'll be a minimum of a 5-foot high black aluminum picket style fence or a wooden fence. And so this site plan up here actually color codes the rear loaded homes versus the front loaded homes. And so you can see that the homes in blue are what are designed currently to be rear loaded. So we still have the rear loaded homes, which will be facing the roadways for the main entrance, as well as that secondary entrance coming in on Reservoir Drive. And what this will do is really create a nice streetscape. It'll really give it a feel of high quality architecture and really nice landscape experience as someone drives into this neighborhood. They'll see the fronts of homes. They won't see any garages. We'll see, sidewalks and street trees and that sort of thing. We've added 2-car garage front-loaded homes along the border of the property, which was something else we heard from the neighborhood residents that they felt was really important. So we've taken away all of the 1-car garage front entry homes. All of our 1-car garages will now be rear entry homes only. And then we've also updated, let's get to that one. Here's some images of our elevations. We've tried to update these so that you can see some of those details of what we're proposing. We're really proposing doing high quality architectural features, changes in roof lines, stone, brick, board and batten, that sort of thing. Last thing I'll say, I think it is worth pointing out that negotiating this additional land from the mall owners came at a pretty big expense because they were really valuing this land as commercial property. But we heard from the neighbors, we heard from everyone how important it was going to be to have that second entrance, and so we realized, the advantage that this now gives to our plan, having these 2 access points. But we really hope that you'll recognize how much we've tried to really address the guidance that's been given to us along the way as we've come up with this plan. And so with that, I'll be happy to answer any additional questions.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
Just before we have questions, on the issue about the stormwater pond, initially the stormwater pond was within the perimeter minus the CBO portion, and because it was going to be within the perimeter, the water would have to have discharged from that pond as to wherever it would have naturally flowed into the arbor station area. That has been totally changed. With the expansion of the project to include the CBO property, and now the utilization of that pond that you can see when you drive down Arbor Parkway as you approach the ring road that goes into the mall, that pond has been enlarged, and that stormwater would be carried underground all the way to the CBO pond. So it's kept away from the arbor station property entirely. I wanted to make that point as well concerning that. So ready for questions, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions from the board?
Yes. Did I hear you say the main entrance would be from Arbor Parkway?
That's correct. Yes, the main entrance will now be off Arbor Place Boulevard, which I believe is what it is. And then we'll still have the secondary entrance on Reservoir Drive, which is the entrance we had initially shown in our original plan. And I can see if I can come up to the some aerials to illustrate that, but that's correct. I don't know if there's a... So up there, actually, you'll see those highlighted parcels in yellow. Those are the parcels that we have since added, and so that's where our main entrance to the neighborhood will be. So all of the homes facing that, there'll be a sidewalk there. There'll be rear entry homes. There'll be no garages facing that.
I was saying Arbor Place Parkway. The main entrance is going to be coming from Arbor Place Parkway.
Yes.
Right off Chapel Hill, where Panera is and the bank.
Now Arbor Place
Blaze
Parkway
Park.
come off Highway 5.
That's Boulevard. I think we're saying we're interchanging Boulevard and Parkway, but it's Arbor Place Boulevard.
Coming from Highway 5.
No, coming off Chapel Hill.
Okay, all right. And I'm getting me confused because Arbor Place Parkway is run from Highway 5.
Okay, is that something different?
Or where Wells Fargo is?
I live there. I know where Arbor Parkway is too.
I think I see where you're talking about. I think with the second entrance that they said they were going to add, I mean that goes right into the mall. if I'm correct.
That's right. It is the road.
Which then they can go out and come out by Highway 5,
That's exactly right.
by Discount Tire. Is that what you're talking?
Oh, okay, okay, all right, then, I think we're talking about two different places then.
Okay.
Okay.
May I show him this map, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, yes. Yes.
So you come down Chapel Hill Road, take a right across from Panera. This is the property.
Okay, I got you, all right, okay, yeah, okay.
I have a question. What is the price? Because you said there's 193 townhomes there. What is the price of these townhomes going to be?
Average sales price would be around $250,000, and we'll have a couple different product types. So some might be just a little below that, some a little above, but average right around.
What's the average the footage of each?
It will depend. The one-car garages will be around 1,400 square feet, 1,400 to 1,500, and then the two-car garages actually will be a little bit larger than that.
I have a question. What did you say again was the distinction between the highlighted?
It's the rear entry versus front entry townhomes. And so the ones in blue, I believe, are rear entry. So that just means the garages are going to be in the back.
So it's the,
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yellow
right
one's
here
on
on the
our-
screen. The yellow.
The yellow, it's like yellow on my.
The yellow is the new land that we added to this application that we've since working to put under contract in order to provide a second access point to the neighborhood. So initially, when we applied and came in, our application did not include that land, and we only had one access point.
Now, I was referring to the townhomes themselves. So the townhomes facing Arbor Boulevard are front facing?
They are rear entry.
Rear entry.
So the front door will be, that's right, they'll be facing Arbor Boulevard. So you won't see garages when you're driving down. You'll see a really nice streetscape, you'll see nice architecture, street trees, a sidewalk, and a nice entrance to the neighborhood. No garages.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Just to clarify, so it's hard for us to see that, so that's,
I wondered if you all had screens back there. Okay.
yeah, we can't see that. So
I mean, I can see it because it's right there in the middle. Right there.
if I'm not mistaken, on the packet that was submitted for our review, the yellow pictures are the rear entry because they have the alleyways, and the white are the front entry, if I'm not mistaken.
So that is, so she just showed me that rendering, and I'm embarrassed to even say I did not have that. And so what is submitted, is it okay if I walk up here?
Yes.
So what is on this presentation is I color-coded the blue to show rear entry. And so these are entrances. This is what you'll see coming in, the fronts of these homes. And so that's what I was referring to. And so I very much apologize that y'all don't have that. But so, and then the yellow entry is the front entry across the perimeter.
So the blue looks yellow on our picture.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
The yellow looks white on our picture.
I'm very sorry about
Yeah.
that, but so.
Yes.
So this is your main entrance right here. These will be the fronts of the homes. They'll have alleys behind them, so you don't see any garages from the entrance. So all the blue is here. It's just a different color of what.
All together, yeah, that's right, okay.
Sorry about that.
I noticed there was a traffic study done about how many cars they think they're going to add to that area, because I think of the congestion that's already there at that intersection.
I'll let him, he just recently updated the traffic study with the new property.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nasir Omar from A&R Engineering. Actually, my boss was supposed to come, but he had an emergency, medical emergency, so he sent me in. We worked on this traffic, we updated the traffic study with the new site plan with 2 driveways. As far as the traffic, less than, let me put it this way. In 1 minute, it's less than 1 car entering and exiting the driveways. So it's very minimal traffic. The impact on the driveways and also the other study intersections is very minimal. If you will be given a traffic study, you will see that the impact, the level of service at each study intersection in the no-build conditions is almost same as the build conditions. So basically, there's no impact and no significant impact, I should say.
I was thinking 193 townhomes, most people have about 1 to 2 cars, to 3 cars. And then
89
during
cars
rush hour and
in the
after-
AM peak, 89 cars in the AM peak. There are 2 driveways, entering and exiting. So you can do the math. And in the PM peak is 106 cars entering and exiting from both the driveways. So it is really not much of traffic.
I understand that. I think my concern was, granted that, during this time that we've been dealing with COVID, traffic has been really low. But I know, like, if this was normal time, and now that we're coming into October, November, and December, and it's just, and so I know traffic has been low.
No, basically, when we did the traffic counts, we did it pre-COVID. We did it in
Traffic counts were collected, I think, March 3rd. So it's
March
right
3rd, yes.
Before everything shut down.
And everything, the schools, everything were working that time. So we have based our analysis based on the regular traffic.
And, really, some of our hope, too, is the way that this is designed to be so integrated with a lot of the retail and a lot of the businesses around here. I'm not at all.
Excuse me, we can't record you well if you're not at the mic, so if you would do that, please. Thank you.
Sure. The way that this neighborhood is designed, we really do hope that this will provide residents opportunities to walk. I'm not saying that every resident is going to be walking to their job every day of the week, but we really do hope that it's designed in a way that will take some of those trips off the road just to go do little errands or what have you. We do understand that there's going to be adding some traffic to the roadways, but we really do think also with sort of some of the flexibility, hopefully, that will come out of COVID as well. I think people's schedules and opportunities to work in different ways than we have traditionally been working. The hope is that not every single person from this neighborhood is getting in their 2 cars and leaving at the exact same time every morning to go to the office. But we were very encouraged by the results of the traffic study that really showed that there was no significant impact to the roadways generated from the build scenario in this.
Mr. Chairman, I have another question for the applicant. You mentioned there were 2 meetings with residents, surrounding residents. Can you tell me how many people were at each meeting?
On the initial meeting by Zoom, I think I remember 27 or 29, I don't recall, but something like that.
Back in May was the initial Zoom meeting.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Early on, sometime in the early spring. And in the meeting here, there may have been,
May have been 30 to 40 people here.
and members of the council were also here at that time.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. You mentioned that you changed the fence based on some of the community concerns.
We offered up the option or the suggestion that we would put in a perimeter fence. Some things that we heard from the surrounding residents is that they just get some walk-through traffic coming from this area of the retail and the mall, and that they were concerned that, that might persist. And so we recommended that maybe what we look to do is do a fence around the perimeter of our site, anywhere it's abutting existing residential.
So you are absolutely going to do that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And
yes,
how
we're
tall is that fence?
Proposing to do that. We're proposing 5 feet privacy fence.
Any other questions? I had another one. I guess I'm concerned with $250,000 townhomes right next to the mall. As far as, what do you do if people say, well, I don't want to live right next to the mall? Or if you don't sell, I mean, are you just gonna build them all at once, or are you just gonna build like a, one group, I think you said 8, is it 8? 4?
Usually 6 to 8.
6
looks
to
like
8, so are you gonna like
5,
build them
4 to-
as, and sell them as they come, and?
Yeah, I
how-
mean, we very much anticipate being able to start 1 or 2 buildings and just in succession continue to build them as they sell. I mean, we've done some pretty in-depth market study, and we really see that there is a demand for this type of residential product in this area. There's nothing like this. There's no new construction townhomes or highly amenitized neighborhood like this in this area, and we really do think that there are various different buyer groups who would be interested in living by the mall, but also just all of the retail that's in this area. I mean, it really is an activity center, and it's close to the interstate, and it's close to commuting to job centers, and it just offers a lot of positives that we think this demographic is looking for.
Mr. Chairman, just a
Yes.
comment. This development's pretty dense. When I first reviewed this, 193 townhomes didn't make me super excited, but I am, it's just a lot. And I travel personally in that corridor all the time, and I thought the same thing. I did review the traffic study, I get that. From a guy who's been in your shoes, I get it, the numbers don't lie. I would like to say that from someone who deals with housing demand on a daily basis, there's a tremendous demand for housing right now, and our mall is not doing that great. And so my hope that if this project is able to move forward, that some of that demand of the housing the price point, I like the price point. I think it's good for our area, and that some of that housing demand will spill over into commerce that our mall definitely needs. I do appreciate you guys' willingness to be flexible. I don't think you had much of a project without the second entrance. It's just the way that thing's set up, though. I do appreciate that. So just one more time, help me understand the change in the stormwater, because I know the pond behind the mall is a big deal. It's kind of by itself, so you're going to pipe it all the way down? Is that what you're going to do?
That's our engineer, so I will let him speak to that.
Hi, Chad Lambeth. My address is 491 Timberlea Lake Drive, Southeast, Marietta, Georgia, 30067. The plan is, as of now, we've gotten an agreement with the neighboring property, so our plan is to expand that pond and bring it up to code and route all of our stormwater and account for the regional, what's already accounted for in it. Bring it up to code, make it easier for maintenance, and we'll route everything and treat and send it off, and we're hoping to improve and send it off better than it was. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any more questions from the board? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
My name is Cindy Welch. I live at 3002 Concord Way, Douglasville, Georgia. It's in Heritage Valley subdivision that we back up to this. I have a couple questions. I still don't understand why they want to do one-car garages. I don't know about you, but there isn't a soul in my neighborhood that only has one car parked either in the garage or the driveway. So if they have one-car garages, there's going to be a minimum of 2 cars there. One will be in the garage, one will be in the street, one will be in the driveway, going over the sidewalk. I mean, that's just a mess. And at one point, they were all going to be one-car garages, so we've got them to at least put some 2-car. The other thing is, if you look at the pictures that she showed of those, of the outside, I would think that they could put a little more stone, brick, some kind of something that's not just plain wood. If you do that, I'm telling you, 5 to 10 years, it is gonna look like slums. You've got to have something that people wanna maintain, be proud of. And if you just do wood, they're not gonna paint them. That's the main thing I have. I also see they have a dog park, and I hope we're not gonna listen to dogs barking, because we hear them from Reservoir Drive right now in my neighborhood. So, those are the main things that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any others? Do I have a motion regarding this application?
A motion we pass this item.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion on this matter? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
No, aye.
No.
So I have Mr. Burnett, Mr. Parker, and Ms. Fegan as for, and I have the rest as nay. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. I'm for.
Okay. So again, we have a 4-3 vote with Mr. Burnett, Ms. Fegan, Mr. Van, and Mr. Parker, and against we have Mr. Artley, Mr. Benton, and Mr. Zachary.
Is that correct? Okay. The motion passes and the application is approved. Thank you.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Are there any, is there any old business from the staff?
Well, I want to say congratulations to a well-run meeting tonight. Thank you so much. Just want to go back to our meeting earlier this evening. Just a reminder, please respond and let us know if you're able to attend the training at the ARC. I provided you the dates on that sheet that I gave you. We have a couple of dates in October, 2 in November, 2 in December. And as I said, we completely understand if you cannot attend. This is very short notice. You will be given another opportunity in the spring to participate. So it's okay to say no, but we certainly want you to give strong consideration to attending in the spring if you can. So just shoot us an email or give me a call regarding your availability for that class. And we also have the training class scheduled for October 27th here in the auditorium. Ms. Littlefield will be leading that. We'll be talking about the UDO and some other good information that will be handy as we move forward. As always, reach out to us, give us a call if you need anything. We are Typically available from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, so you know where to find us. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to adjourn. Oh, I would like ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Do I get to do the gavel?
Yeah, sure.
Hey.
Call this meeting to a close. Thank you for coming.
I had to write my notes on the thing because mine ran out.
Yes, we will take all that up. You can leave them at your desk.
Okay, it's smooth, yeah. Yeah. I have a question